question about if you've given God authority over your life and you've been praying for something and doing everything that is in your power to make it happen, and it's not, at what point can you say, okay, this is not God's will, and at what point should you just continue trying?
That's a good question. And I think the answer to that is you never really want to say, if this is not God's will, if what you are seeking and praying for is for His glory. That's the question. I don't know what the specific thing is you're thinking of, but when you're, for example, let's take, you're praying for somebody to come to salvation. You don't ever want to get to the point where you say, well, I've been praying for, I don't know, half an hour here, and or I've been praying for 30 days, or I've been praying for 2 years. You don't ever want to assume that it's not God's will to save someone. That's presumptuous. You can assume, however, that it's not yet God's time. I think the thing that has to cover your prayer at all times is, God, if this is your will, do this. And you pray, and you keep praying, and you keep praying, and sometimes you pray for a long time, many years, decades. You just, since you don't know God's will, you can't say it is God's will, nor could you say, oh, well, it's not His will. I had a very prominent preacher say to me, somebody you would all know, say to me, I have a child that's not elect. I said, what? What do you mean you have a child that's not elect? I have a child that's not elect. I said, well, why would you say that? Well, because this child has not come to Christ, and it's been a long time. And the direction of the life of this child is opposite. I was very surprised by that. By the way, that particular child is now in Christ and serving alongside that father. So I teased him a little bit about his inside knowledge of who's elect and who's not. You just don't want to get to the point where you decide that God's going to act in your time, or you're going to think it's not His will. So depending on what it is, if you're praying for God's will in a certain situation, keep praying. God hears you just because you're faithful. That's called importunity. You know, like the guy who knocks and knocks and knocks and knocks, and if somebody's going to do what you want just because you keep banging and he's irritated, what will God do for you when you keep asking and He loves you? So don't give up.